Everybody, welcome. All of our first timers in the webinar today, very special welcome. Everyone who keeps coming back, I commend you, I applaud you, thank you. These webinars wouldn't be what they are if you guys weren't in here. So thank you guys so much. My name is Alexa, Operations Manager here at the BPM RIA office. Stands for Broward, Palm Beach, Miami Real Estate Investors Association. We have some incredible gentlemen here. They will introduce themselves in just a moment, but we're going to get into it. We're going to get into finding and closing the most profitable real estate deals, which I'm really excited for you guys to hear what that's going to be about. But quick little announcement, we are going to raffle off a free membership today. Super easy to enter the raffle. All you're going to do is text the word membership to our event line. This is for raffles only, so don't text me on this number. You should all have my number, and if not, you will get it by the end of this webinar. But go ahead and text the word membership to 954-800-6961 if you'd like a chance to win a free one-year membership. And if you already have one, then you'll get an extra year added on your membership. And I went and put that in the chat for you guys. You guys will notice that I am going to be putting some helpful little links and things in the chat for you all. So check that out because you're not going to want to miss those. Just some quick upcoming events for you guys. Don't want to overwhelm you, but take a picture of this, go to the website. You can find all of our events on our website, bpmria.com, in the upcoming events tab. I'll go ahead and link it in the chat for you guys, but we have our monthly meeting coming up next week. So go ahead, register for that. It's free, it's virtual. Walter Amorello, he's in Tampa. God bless. I mean, whatever you believe, I'm really hoping he's safe out there. He's probably evacuated, but either way, I know he's going to be there for our monthly meeting next week because I spoke with him. So, and he's graciously coming back for a virtual training that's following Saturday. Again, free webinar the following week. After that, not going to want to miss it. Pelago, one of our vendor partners, they're coming in to tell us what's going on with them. And hopefully they will be coming for the networking event in November as well. You're going to want to get familiar with all of the vendors that we have because we have our in-person quarterly meeting coming up around the corner. And yes, you're seeing this right. We are also having an in-person meeting in West Palm Beach coming up on October 27th. So lots of great events coming up, and I'll make sure that I'll link this in the chat for you guys right now. There you are. Moving right along. Favorite way to keep up with events, guys, text message. If you want text message alerts for when our events are coming up, all you have to do is text BPM REIA, one word, to 954-800-6961. Once again, this is our event line. Don't text me on this number. You will all have my contact information after this webinar. All right, and I've already received a ton of emails from you guys who missed the last boot camp this month. So for all of you who are asking, next boot camp, February 4th, February 5th. I know this seems like it's so far out, but we have so many events in the meantime. So there's a reason why we plan these dates. So take advantage of all of the in-person online events that we have up until the next quick start. Please, 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 we bring in really great people and you guys must take advantage of all of the incredible professionals that we have on. And thank you guys so much for responding to this poll. We did pop up this poll here just to see if you're interested and if you want more information, if you want to talk with me about, how does the boot camp work? I will definitely get in touch with all of you who are responding to the poll. So thank you guys so much for responding to this poll. And as you can see, we do have a member pricing and a non-member pricing here for this. So you can definitely check this out on the website, and I will link it in the chat for you guys in just a moment. Our members, you guys know that you get all the perks, you get all the discounts, all the stuff. You get in free for the in-person networking meetings. Your guests come in at half price for $10. You get discounted tickets for special seminars, both in person and online. You get first reservations, as well as the National RIA benefit package that we absolutely love. Big discounts to Home Depot, Avis Budget, Office Depot Business, Rent Perfect, so many vendors. So if you don't already have your membership, if you want more information about your membership, thank you guys so much for responding to this poll again. And I'll definitely be in touch with you to help you save some more. If you're active in real estate, then let's get on the saving, put that money towards something amazing. So thank you guys so much for your attention. I am so honored to introduce these gentlemen here, but always want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thank our vendor partners, thank the National RIA, thank everybody for being in this webinar today. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to hand it over to our gentleman here today. Hello, good morning.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you so much. And you know what I'm going to kind of do? I mean, this is a total audible, so Alexa, don't kill me on this, because I see a lot of people that are interested in the 2-day quick start.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, we are those people that are people in action. So I don't know, I feel pretty giving today. I'm willing to take off $100 if you sign up today. So I don't know how, while I'm doing the webinar, I don't know if you could create a special code or if they have to email you for being in action. And one of the things about the 2-day quick start also is I give you a money back guarantee. So if you say, hey, Nish, you know, it's good information, but it wasn't great information. It stunk, right? You wasted my time, right? I always joke about it. I'm not God, so I can't give you your time back, but I'll gladly give you your money back. So I'm not too worried about it when it comes to that. So it's just one of those things that, you know, for me, I want to give back to the people, and that means you guys, right? So give me 1 second and I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Awesome. And so today, right, we're going to talk about finding and closing the most profitable real estate deals. And our saying here, right, at BPM RIA is real estate investing made simple. So the easiest way I tell people is like, let's not make this complicated anymore, right? So, you know, everyone tries to make it harder or tries to be too crafty. And you got to go learn the basics, and then you keep adding on. And that's how we really work here as a company. Some house rules. I know I see a lot of first timers here. We do have a Q&A section. So go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A. If you do put them in the chat moves way too fast. Today's supposed to be interactive. You've already noticed that we'll put up some poll questions in there too as we go along, so we could get a better idea of who we are or who you guys are when it comes to real estate investing. So a little bit about me. My name is Anish Dave, President and CEO of BPM RIA. I'm a licensed real estate agent since 2002 or 2004. I've been a licensed mortgage guy since 2001. My degree is in finance. I worked in banking. I was an auditor. I read all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, right? So if you guys know Robert Kiyosaki, I realized my dad was poor dad, working for the same company for 35 to 40 years. And I was on the path of being poor dad also. So I said, nice job. I don't want to do this. And that was the first time I started learning about passive income. So I said, you know what? Let me get into the mortgage business. I've always did loans for the bank. Got my mortgage license, started my own mortgage company, started buying properties. And, you know, I was up to 28 properties, you know, back in from 2001 to 2007. Some of you old timers, if you've been around in real estate investing, I kind of joke about it. And I said, you know, please God, at 40, let me be done. What I didn't really specify, if you guys believe in the secret or terminology of that, was that I wanted to be done investing, not done losing all my properties. So I actually wound up losing 28 properties, and I went from millions of dollars to being bankrupt. And it was one of those things that I said, as the market was changing, I noticed that I said, you know what, I got to figure something else out. And that's when I heard about wholesaling. You got to remember back in 2006, 7, I think there was only 1 or 2 HD TV shows about flipping houses, wholesaling. I didn't even know what a RIA was. And before you know it, I spent $50,000 on a national program to learn real estate investing. And the information's good. So some of you guys might have spent a lot of money on real estate investing programs. The information was good, but the problem was the mentor wasn't local. So my mentor was in Utah and he had no idea about the South Florida market. So some of you guys from Miami, if you're in Dade County, can you imagine? I found a property on Overtown or an Opelika. And my mentor said, hey, you got to buy that condo. It's a great deal, because he was comparing Brickell in downtown Miami. So if you guys know South Florida and you're from down here, those are not comparables. I pretty much wanted to cry. Is the easiest thing I would say. And the only good thing that happened, not the only good thing, but they said, hey, go to your local RIA. And that's how I found BRIA. Back then, I took my last bit of money and I decided to do another mentoring program, right? So my family, conservative Indian family, said, go back to corporate America. And I said, nah, I'm going to try to figure this out. And I'm competitive, like many of you guys out there. And my attitude was, if that idiot could do it, I said, hey, this idiot could do it also, right? Like, forget it. And I didn't want to go back to corporate America. And fast forward, I was one of the top students, bought the companies from our mentors. And then this past year, we actually just renamed it to BPM RIA, because people always thought we only bought in Broward County. We buy in all 3 counties, Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade. Actually, now we're buying all over Florida. So who knows, in a couple of years, I might have to rechange the name again. But for now, we're still called BPM RIA. And we're excited about being in real estate, and it's been a big difference in my life. I not only was I able to create this company, when the market crashed in 2008, filing bankruptcy, my parents lost their house. I even got to buy my house about 4 years ago and pay cash for it. And it was real estate wholesaling and rehabbing that was able to let me do this part of it. So part of our BPM team, Alexa, who is our COO, she's the most important person in the company by far. If you want anything done, you know who to call or email. She's the one that keeps me in line. I would pull out my hair if I had any hair, if I was doing this by myself, but Alexa's the one that keeps us moving here too. So Harry and Victoria are our lead mentors, as well as Lucian and Denise and Taryn Ward. And today we actually have Harry as one of our lead mentors on here. I also do have Antonio Lopez, who was a former student. He's a short-term rental expert. And he's my favorite millennial, I'll say, besides Alexa. He really knows how to think outside the box. Probably one of the most fearless people that I've ever met. And he's probably one of the most coachable people that's out there. And that's really what makes a difference on his success too. So we didn't know he would pop in today, but he said, you know what? He's in between looking at properties. He said, you know what, let me throw on let me at least throw a shirt on. I don't know if he's wearing any pants, but that's another story on that portion. So to give you a little bit more, and I'll let Antonio talk about himself. So are you living your best life, right? So my wife and I are passionate about traveling. So real estate investing got us to, the Taj Mahal, the Tulum, Maldives, Dubai, and we went to Turkey, Puerto Rico, and it was this business that actually got us where we wanted to be, and we're still love to travel. So for me, it's important on a life balance wheel of having income and being able to do the things that you want. These are some of the other mentors. These are just some recent pictures. Harry, you want to talk about where you guys went a little bit?
Down on the lower left is a world famous picture. That's Santorini, Greece. We just came back from a 2-week cruise and land trip through Athens, all throughout Greece and Turkey. Went to Istanbul and Kushadesa, which is where Ephesus is, one of the ancient cities, 3,500 years old. That the ruins are just amazing. If anyone hasn't been, put it there. That's Kushadesa in the background there in the top left. And in the middle and the bottom is our one of the fancy dining rooms in the ship. They built the ship around the food, so as you can tell, I like food. But we love to travel as well, and this has afforded us everything from Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, through anywhere from England and Norway and Amsterdam, Paris. So we've had a great opportunity to explore the world, and thank goodness for real estate.
Yep. And the other mentors also, Denise and Lucian, they're actually working with students today. Taryn, I think, is, I don't know if she's out of property or she's working with students also, but they love to travel too. And Taryn's also my partner on the fund, single mom with 3 kids. And if you've been following us, you know her story. Also, and Denise and Lucian are retired Fortune 500 executives in real estate also, and former mentoring students. Some of the other things that we've been up to as a group is we worked with the Miami Dolphins. We did the business combine, and you see Antonio in there also. We showed his short-term rental. Recently, this past week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, we were honored to be working with PAC, the professional athletic community started by Caleb. And they're actually teaching these young men how to be entrepreneurs or real estate investing and all the above for these retired NFL players. And the one thing I'm going to tell you is they asked unbelievable questions, very interactive in the event. And it was a true honor for BPM Ria, myself, and Antonio to be picked by this group to, basically for them to trust us and be able to give it a little bit of our education. As BPM, one of the things we've also done as a student community, we did our big barbecue this past summer. And so for us, it's about making money and also making an impact in the community and in lives. So that's why I'm doing this, Harry, Victoria, we all have Antonio, we all have our own independent businesses, but our idea is to really do something big. And if you want to do something big, you have to do it with a group of people. That's the easiest way I could tell anyone. There's no way you could do this by yourself. So that's a little bit about us. And so let's kind of get into it a little bit, right? So what kind of deals do we focus on, right? So go ahead and put in the chat, what do you guys think we focus on in there? So, right, so we focus on pre-foreclosure, right? We focus on probate and non-owner occupied. So before, and I apologize, Antonio, do you want to give your little intro of who you are too? So my bad, I'm moving a little too quick here today.
No worries. I appreciate you inviting me to this panel. Number one, I've been doing this for a pretty long time, and I don't know that I would have, gone as far as I have without the right coach. So I appreciate you, even inviting me to this. This is a pretty big deal to be a panelist, which is, I get to share now what I know with everybody. So thank you. And yes, like I was saying, I've been doing this for like about 10 years. I've mainly focused on wholesaling. My main focus is in pre-foreclosures, and lately, I've seen the big opportunities in short-term rentals, and so I've essentially gotten into that full force and know a lot and would love to share a lot about it. So thank you.
Yeah, and also for you Miami natives, Antonio is a Miami native. He's half Honduras, half Cuban. So at BPM, we're a bunch of mutts. right? We're like a United Nations on that end of it. We got Asians, we got all sorts of things going on here. And you could see, if you notice, there's also different age groups. So Antonio's the baby in our family, even though he's not a baby on that portion. So it doesn't matter what your background is, whether it's been with, and Antonio has previously no real estate experience, right? And Harry, before this, zero real estate experience. I had some as a licensed real estate agent, mortgage guy, and an investor experience, but now we're all at the same spot. It's probably what I like talking about in general too. So, and since Antonio, you like working on pre-foreclosures, what is a pre-foreclosure? Like, do you want to define what that means? And
yeah, I'd love to. A pre-foreclosure really means it's a property that has not been foreclosed yet. So the bank is actively pursuing the foreclosure, right? They're trying to take away the house, right? Because unfortunately, this particular homeowner is in default of their mortgage, right? So in order to calm the debt, what the bank does is that they try to either take back the house or sell it at auction at what you guys may know as the foreclosure auction. So,
yep, exactly. And the way we know about that, because they have to get served, and it's filed in the county records. So that's how we know that it's actually in pre-foreclosure. And again, the key is the homeowner still owns it on title, not the bank. So that's really important. What about Harry? You want to talk about probate?
Sure. You want me to show the screen for probates that are in the area, or you
Not
want
yet. We'll kind of get into that, because we're gonna show you what's really happening. So let's just kind of define some of the basic terms or what we're looking for, and then we'll kind of go into the nitty gritty.
Right. Probate is a process that's required when someone dies and their estate has to be liquidated. So probate is a process where, in general, their assets of their estate, which includes their property, gets transferred through that probate process to the heirs.
Correct. And how, in general, like, how long does it take?
Probate could take as quickly as 6 to 8 weeks. And depending on how detailed it is, how many heirs there are, how many people contest it, could take, very few take longer than a year, but I would say an average of 3 to 5 months on 95% of them.
Yep. So for me, on one of my first deals, I did a probate deal. I had 11 heirs. It took 2 years. So, I mean, I was in it on the long haul, and I always kind of joke about it. I know Antonio's done probate deals. I always feel like there's always that one sibling that's not on board, right? It's always like, and that's what took long. We actually took 9 of them were on board. The 2 were waiting. Oh, there's more money on this. So imagine, if you have any siblings out there, how often you fight about other things. Can you imagine about a property? Mom and dad.
I got to go on the other end. I just closed the probate, and the actual process took 3 weeks.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
So the spectrum is all over the place. There is a fee, right? So on average, do you want to talk about what you paid for the probate, or how much it costs? Do you remember?
Yeah. I paid $2,500.
2,500. Right.
Yeah.
So
2,500.
So what we found, it's anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000, exactly what Harry's saying. It depends on how many heirs and how much work on that portion. So be prepared. That is usually an upfront cost that your heirs will have to pay. Or, in the past, we've actually paid for it because we knew there was enough money in there. So it just depends, right? So you have to make sure you prepare people on what a probate is, because they'll say, oh, my mom passed away and I'm on title, and they did not go through probate. So if you get a contract, it's not going to make any sense, right? And then our other group that we love is the non-owner occupied, right? Tired of being the landlord, right? In-state, out-of-state. Go ahead and put in the chat if you're actually a landlord, because I'm kind of curious if you are actually a landlord, because it is fantastic to build a portfolio, but sometimes it can be tough, right? Meaning, like, you might have 10 properties and there's that one haunted property. No matter what happens, you're evicting that person. I don't know what the heck is it, haunted on that. I'm kidding about that, but sometimes you're over it. The other thing that we're also seeing is, people that bought in 2008 to 10, right? They bought at the bottom of the market and they're running into big capital expenses, right? A roof, it's 12 years, it's a shingle roof. They might have to replace the roof. I could tell you the bathrooms and kitchens are definitely outdated if you haven't updated it since 2008. So now you're saying, hey, I doubled or tripled my money, right? Let's actually talk about the big gorilla in the room, right? Like what's happening today, right, on the West Coast. So obviously we're looking at what Hurricane Ian's doing. And for a lot of people, right, if you own 10, 20 properties, or you're an owner operator and you own 3 or 4, mom and pop, and now you're running to board up your properties, right? You live out of state and you kind of had it. So those people may be motivated to move and sell their properties on that portion, right? So you just never know. Divorce, they might have some, other things that are happening. So they might want to liquidate on that portion. So it just depends where they are in their life. So again, we want to be, targeting those 3 people, generally speaking, and we've made a ton of money on it. On the pre-foreclosures also, there's with equity, right? Meaning it's a 30-day closing, or we may have to do a short sale. And a short sale, we're negotiating with the bank to get a better price. Short sales, generally speaking, what do you guys say? I know the shortest one that we've had was 6 weeks, right, Harry?
6 weeks.
I think
30 days,
Yeah, and the longest one we probably had was, I don't know,
2 years.
2 years. Yeah,
I don't
About
know.
a year.
yeah. So it just kind of depends on that portion.
But also an average about 6 months. So
Yep,
it's not
exactly.
that bad. But we don't spend 6 months worth of time on this. I think each short sale that we have 6 months, the actual hours worked on each deal is anywhere between 15 and 30.
Yep,
So it's not that much time.
absolutely. And so to give us a good idea, like I'll be putting polls up as we're kind of chatting. I just want to get an idea of how many deals have you guys done in the last 12 months? Put it in the poll. That way we have a good idea of where you're at on that portion, because it's going to really, and if you're not doing deals, we're going to talk about that too, right? Like what's stopping you on that portion. So I do see a lot of you guys are new. Okay. And I just out of curiosity, I bet a lot of you guys are realtors. So Antoni's a licensed agent. I'm a licensed agent. Realtors work way too hard for their money. Harry will never be a licensed agent ever. So
Harry's like, nope, not me, man. Send him my way, Harry.
No
Yep.
problem. That's why we have a team.
Yep, exactly on that portion. So I see like actually 3/4 of you guys have not done any deals in the last 12 months, that is, right? About 20% of you guys have actually done 1 deal, 1 to 3 deals. So that's a good idea. And there's a couple of you guys that are superstars that have done 8 or more and moving on that. So number 1, you're at the right spot, right? Let's talk about that, right? Like you're listening in, on that portion, and we want to know why, like what is your, because I know if you're like me, right, you've been watching TV, right? And you're watching all the shows and they're talking about the economy. So the other portion of it is like, what's your biggest fear, right? Like, what are you afraid of when it comes to the economy or real estate on that portion? So it gives you a good idea. I could tell you right now, Harry, do you want to say, I'll let you share, you could share your screen a little bit later if you want on that, but like, what is your deal profit? So Harry loves, short sale, like he specializes in short sales, but he's open to all sorts of deals. So I don't want this to be a short sale conversation in general, but what have you made, give or take, on your deals so far as of this year?
Calendar year or fiscal?
Year to date.
Calendar year. We've done 7 deals of our own and large, short sales, and then a couple of quick wholesales for 15,000, 10,000 here and there. But of those 7 deals, we're over $700,000 net profits so far this year.
Yeah. And so
Thank you,
700,000
Antonio.
and how many houses have you rehabbed?
In
No, this
a
in these
10-year
seven-
career, one.
yeah, in 10-year career, 1. This year, 0.
Yeah, that follows just behind. Do I want to be a realtor? Have rehabber? No, not me.
Right. And then and how much money do you actually spend on marketing?
Oh God, really? I am a unicorn. I don't spend 1 penny in advertising. No letters, no door knockers, no phone calls, no automated this, nothing, 0.
Yeah. So, I mean, he does spend money. There's, I mean, software, which we've had ReaFax, and we'll show you that too. So he does spend money on ReaFax. I know you had to spend money on gas.
No, that's not
And
advertising though.
and probably some business cards. Right. So that's
Just bought business cards, $275, first time in 8 years.
yeah. So I mean, like he does that. I mean, there is some money, right? And then the other end of it, he does need deposit money too, right? So it's not that it's truly no money on that portion. And what he did was when he was in our program and he started, we gave him some items and then he carved his own way, is what I'll tell you on that end of it. So now like he's very unique on that. And that's one of the things you got to figure out what your budget is. And we always talk about, if you're doing mailings and you're doing outside, outgoing marketing, it's got to be minimum 5 touches on that portion. And, if you don't have enough money, like don't do 1,000 mailings and try it once, save your money. Like it's not going to work. It's a waste of time. Just to make sure you're consistent with different messaging, constantly hitting those people. So I think that's always important. Out of those deals, right? Let's talk about, because, we're talking about what kind of deals do you profit the most? So what kind of deals, are you specifically liking? How about that? Harry, if you want to.
Deals that I specifically like, well, I focus on short sales, which is buying the house for less than what is owed. So pre-foreclosures are my target. In those pre-foreclosures, we are doing probates, we are doing regular mortgage short sales and reverse mortgage short sales.
Wait, Harry, you're too smart for me. What's a reverse mortgage?
It's the exact opposite of a regular mortgage. Basically, the bank pays the homeowner money, and says, we'll give you money based on the equity of your house. When you die, we'll take your house back. You have to be over 62 to start, and you have some other obligations like live in the house, maintain the house, pay the taxes and the insurance. And any of those that get violated while the homeowner's alive, the bank will move forward and start pre-foreclosure process.
And so one of the things that like what's happening right now, right? I'm like, we're starting to see a little bit of a correction in our market, right? Let's, nationally it's, I don't know, like the easiest way, there's macroeconomics, right? You can look at all the data in the US. I'm going to be a little selfish. I don't care about all the data in the US, right? Meaning I'm more worried about my market in general. Yes, we have seen some numbers soften a little bit. We still are having issues with affordability, right? There might not be enough housing, but it's affordable housing. What you're also going to see, right? Like what, Harry's talking about the taxes and insurance. So what happens is these elderly, or retirees are getting paid every month, or they took a lump sum of money. And now the bank, what they'll do is they're going to re-look at that house and the values went down. So they might stop giving them payments. They're going to reevaluate. This is what happened in 2008. So if the house was worth quote unquote 400,000, and now the bank, if they really see a push on a correction, they might, say, what's worth 320. Hey, we already paid you out this much. We need some of that money back. Right. And if you're retired, you don't have that money. So that's that little fine print. If you guys have done a mortgage in your life, it's that 150 pages that you're never going to read. That's part of that fine print. Right. So for us, that may be a problem for more people. It's an opportunity for us to help them. Again, we're here about making a win-win on that portion. The other thing that Harry touched on is, yeah, the homeowner is still responsible for, insurance and taxes. Well, what happens, you're on a fixed income, right? You do have some of that money and your AC goes out or the roof,
Maintenance.
right? So how do you, I don't know, sometimes, I don't know if their kids are going to go pay for it, right? Where do you find the money? And that's where it becomes a problem. Right. So that's where Harry really found that niche and specializes to make it a win-win, because otherwise the bank's going to come back and take it. Right. A lot of times Harry's able to actually give him some money or help him with moving cost or something. So it's fixing two problems at the same time. So I think that's really important on that portion. Antonio, like, I know that, you like the short term. So Antonio, like, also, and he kind of mentioned he likes pre-foreclosures also on that portion. But he's been adding a portfolio, and he really loves the short-term rental game, and he's been figuring it out. And like, I was the traditional guy that when I had the 28 properties, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put the tenant in there and collect my monthly rent. The mistake I made, right, like I'll talk about it, was I had negative cash flow. And then it quadrupled, and I can't say 20 times over. I don't know what the word that is. Before you know, it was a domino effect, right? And now the prices went from all this equity to negative equity. Oh, and by the way, the mortgage companies shut down and everything else. So I literally went from millions to less than $8,000 to my name, sleeping on my cousin's couch very quickly. And so the thing that I'm inspired about what Antonio does is that he actually wanted to kind of talk about where you bought your property, like the deal. And I know we've highlighted that your deal in the past. Do you want to give a quick version of like what you found, like, how you found the deal, what you have in it, what you're roughly making per month?
Yeah, this was, and thank you, by the way, I appreciate it. This particular deal was a pre-foreclosure, right? So, the folks that are in pre-foreclosure, for us to make it a win-win, sometimes they have to sell, right? So I was there at the right time. These guys were ready to let it go. They didn't want the foreclosure. So I started doing the foreclosure with them, but unfortunately, like halfway through, the seller passed. So it turned into and it was a crazy moment, because we not only did, I said, I don't want to get too technical. Let's just say that the price on the short sale came out too high. And so we were waiting those 3 months for the appraisal to expire. And that's when this person unfortunately passed. Now, it wasn't sudden, it was somewhat expected, right? And then I had to put on my thinking hat, like, what am I going to do now? Like, we have this almost 75% of the way. So that's when I discovered that I could do probates. I went ahead and contacted a probate attorney. The heirs were game. They did not want to stop the process. They worked with me, I worked with them, and we ended up getting a very favorable price on the second appraisal. And all of this was right before things really took off equity-wise, right? When prices really started taking off. So I really got lucky in there. But at the same time, aside from feeling lucky, I was in the game, like I was playing, I was there, I was, on the field, let's say, right? So it was a little bit of luck, but I got in the way of the luckiness, right? Anyways, from previous experiences with other properties that I had put up on Airbnb, and especially after looking at the numbers, right, as far as acquisition is concerned, I realized that I could make a really decent return on my money if I decided to do short-term rentals, right? And since I had experience in the past, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just ask you, like, so that they know. I know some of you guys are in Broward County. Do you want to tell them it's Lauderdale Manor? Sorry, Lauderdale Manor is where the house is. You want to kind of talk about the area a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not so.
Yeah, so the area is up and coming, right? There's
a true realtor, up and coming.
But it really is. It is up and coming, and I think the personality of the community changes from block to block, right? I got lucky that I was on a street where everybody really, really takes care of their house. Actually, like I'm really lucky that I'm there. And moreover, like I get to add to that, right? Because I try my best to keep my property, top notch. Obviously, it's a short-term rental. And that's one of the principles, right? Is you want to make sure that it's clean. It's one of the main things. So with that being said, yeah, and Lauderdale Manors, so you guys know, is north of Sunrise and west of Powerline. So northwest 9th Street, west of that, and north of Sunrise. So it's like that little corner right before Wilton Manors. So
Yeah. So the people from out of state, you might not know what I'm going to tell you. He's saying it's up and coming. I'm going to say it's been up and coming for about 30 years. It's gotten better. Obviously, it's working class neighborhood, but it'd be a place where you would think there should be no short-term rentals. That's what I would say. Because you always think of luxury, at least that's what I thought. Meaning I didn't really understand the short-term rental business like you do. I would have been like, oh, I need to be near the beach. I need to have this mansion. I need to have this, and I'm, a little bougie. I'd be like, oh, we need a boat slip, all this other stuff. And that's why I never owned one. And so Antonio, looked at the area and he picked a spot that nobody would ever thought, would be a good Airbnb.
yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that because in my mind, as like you say, the closer you are to the beach, right? The closer you are to the coast, the more prices go up, right? So if you look at it this way, the very simple, right, is can I make 2x rent? Right. So if you're all the way out west, and just as an example, your rent is $1,500 on this property, whereas the same exact property way out east might make $2,500. It's the same thing as far as short-term rental pricing is concerned, right? Like the farther west, yeah, you're going to get less, but it's still twice as much as the regular rent in that area. At least that's the goal, right? At least 2x, right? So it's relative, I guess, and it goes along with regular rental prices. So that's how I saw it. And, rents in that area at that time were like about between $2,000 to $2,300. And I figured, I can make $4,600 out of this house, at least.
Yeah. So
just to clarify a little bit, because some people are from far away, east is like we consider the ocean, and west is in the county. So we're still on the southeast side of the state. We haven't hit the Everglades yet. We're not on the west coast of Florida, or when I first got down here, I thought west was California. Everyone kept talking about the west, and didn't click. So just to clarify, we're still in the same county on the southeast side of Florida.
And so I'm going to kind of touch on, because I put that poll up earlier.
Thank you, Harry.
Where people were like, a lot of you guys are worried about rising interest rates, right? We're over 7% as of the other day. A lot of you guys are worried about real estate correction, right? Oh, the market's softening. And the third group is inflation. So yes, yes, and yes, right? So I'm going to actually talk about Antonio's deal even further. Guess what? Antonio wasn't worried about inflation. You know why? He borrowed all the money. I mean, he had a little bit of his own money in it, but he actually got private money for the deal. Guess what? Guess who he leveraged for inflation? The private lender. Not a problem, right? Let's talk about, the real estate correction. There was so much room in the house that he got it at such a discount. It doesn't matter about a correction, right? So even during the boom in 2008, 10, before, or 7, before the pre-foreclosures, people were making money, right? So broadly, yeah, there will be a correction. Let's just talk about that, right? Obviously. So that's not an issue. Again, if you're buying it right and you're cash flowing and you're really setting up a correct capital structure, we're using debt or other people's money, right? And cash flow, you're going to be fine. All right. Like the numbers are the numbers, right? So one of the things that Antonio did, and like we talked about it, was he underwrote his deal as a regular rental. So he knew the regular rental would cover and he'd still be cash flowing. What was it, like $300 to $400 a month? 500.
Yeah, it was like it was like about $500. Yeah, it was
500
like
a month on it as a regular rental, right? So that was his worst case scenario. He used the BRRRR method, and we've done these webinars in the past. So he actually got all his money back that he invested, which wasn't much. He raised his own money. He got paid out at closing. He walked away with was it like 40 or 50,000, somewhere around there in his pocket?
No, I walked away with 71 something,
Okay, and that's after all your expenses and
pretty much. Yeah, that
okay.
was
So he
clean.
walked away with, sorry, I undercut it. So he walked away with 70 grand. And now he, you probably make, what do you make on average? A typical rentals there 3,500, 3,000. What do we say around?
Now it's 3,500, correct?
And right now
I'm
your
netting.
Airbnb numbers like right now 5,500, 6,000 on average. Or
So I'm grossing about 7,000 and I'm netting about 53, 55, something like
5,300.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's over the year. And obviously, you know what's going to happen when season happens, right? So
Yeah,
his
and right now, I'll be honest, right now it's a little bit slower, right? But hopefully we get to talk about this, about pricing and pricing strategy and whatnot. But yeah, even over the average of the year, it's still been a pretty good year.
And so the best part about his return is infinite because he has no money in the deal and he got paid to do it. So that's like a long-term strategy. And what, like what I like Anthony's got 2 other deals he's wholesaling right now that you're going to make really good money on, because they're not, I know part of the reason was you needed cash on because you want to do some other things. And also you looked at the short-term rentals and you didn't think it was as lucrative, right? Or what did you actually, that was part of why you're not keeping those 2.
So again, like I really looked at everything in really conservatively, like you said, as far as the regular rental market was concerned. And when I looked at all the potential expenses, the things that might come up on that property, and I have 2. There's a 2-1, which is the little what I like to call the little shoebox, because it's a little shoebox, but it's super cute. Whatever. Anyways, this property, I ran the regular numbers on it, and unfortunately, as bad as I wanted to keep it, I even named it. It's still just not a good deal. I wasn't going to cash flow the range that I needed to feel comfortable. And then moreover, it does need some work, right? Which even though it's a little shoebox, it's still, it's still a capital expense that I had to take on top of the initial expense for everything that you need for the Airbnb, the cookingware, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go into it, but so the numbers just didn't work out. They just didn't work out. And I also was tempted. So I looked at my Airbnb numbers as well. And the ROI wasn't, it was still really great. It was like 12%, net, but it still wasn't, I just still didn't feel comfortable with it. I thought it was like on the higher range of things. And I didn't want to take that chance. So I decided to put it on the MLS. So,
yeah. And so the other funny part is, right, we're talking about the real estate correction. And it's great that we're kind of hitting all these things. So here's the funny part. He listed it, and I know you got over asking price with an appraisal contingency that they're paying more in the middle of a correction. And the reason why, right, is it's affordable housing. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that there's different segments within the real estate investing end of it. You can't clump, luxury or high rise to this. Affordable housing, remember 3.5% down, they're still getting in. They're happy to have a home. And the numbers, even with rising interest rates, it is still better for them than a rental. So don't get caught up in that rising interest rate conversation. If you're older, like myself and Harry, we've seen, when I used to do loans in 2001, a good mortgage rate was 8.5 to 9%. So that's what the reality is. And if you really talk to the old timers, they're talking about 13 to 15%. Right. So that's why we've done webinars on creative strategies of, taking subject to where you could take advantage of other people's mortgages, interest rates too. So you got to, again, these are just, we're adapting, right? If you're the one trick pony, that's the issue. And what I'm going to do now is, right, because Harry, do you want to share your screen and let's talk about what's really happening with inventory?
Sure.
Right?
Just to finish up or contribute to what you guys were just talking about, this is the main reason why Victoria and I joined the RIA, the Real Estate Investment Association, is because there's so much to do in real estate that having multiple exit strategies, and that is whether you're going to wholesale it, keep it, Airbnb it, rent it out with long-term, whatever. The exit strategy is we have them all available and the knowledge and the experience to deal with these so that we can evaluate them properly to see which is the best return. I had a triplex and I made $100,000 net tax-free on a triplex 1-1 in my Roth account. And I was like, why would I want to rent that out? This was about 4 years ago. But so when you have this kind of knowledge base and the advantage of working with the team, this is where we feel really comfortable in and we watched Antonio grow. I'm very proud of Antonio too. So
Yeah.
all right.
And I just put a quick poll while Harry actually shares his screen because I want to see how greedy you guys are. Because I'm like, what's a good wholesale deal profit? So the industry average, just so you guys know, is 3,000 to 5,000. That's the real average. If you go around the country, that's what people are getting, and they're happy. And my first wholesale deal, if you've actually watched some of the webinars, I talked about it. I made $2,000 on my first wholesale deal. If you would have seen me that day, you would have thought I hit the lottery. I only put $500 down. I had no intention of closing, and I made some money. So I was like, holy cow, I made four times my money. This is amazing, right? And I just took some pictures and got something under contract too. So, so Harry right now, so some of you guys know REIFax, we've had him on. Some of you guys are students too. So let's talk about inventory, right? Like that's the big thing. There's no deals out there on that portion. So let's talk about pre-foreclosures.
Let's start with Miami, or you want to start with Broward?
You can pick whatever county you want.
Let's start with Broward.
Okay.
Pre-foreclosures.
Yep. So go ahead and put in the chat while he's doing this in there. How many pre-foreclosures do you think there are in Broward County? Put in the chat while go ahead, hit it, Harry. It's gonna take a minute anyway, so. And I like that more than 20% of you guys need to make 20,000 or more on a wholesale deal, and you consider a good profit. God forbid you only made 5,000.
Can everyone see the upper right corner?
Yep, 6,397 pre-foreclosures right now.
Was anyone close in the chats?
Yeah, I got 1,000. I got 1,200. 4,000.
Okay.
192,000. That'd be a total different spot.
Quiche, let me see.
Well, we're not there yet, but this is just one county.
This is just Broward County here, right? With Fort Lauderdale. So here, my realtor friends, right? Guess what? How many are for sale? Right? What I mean by that, they're listed on the MLS. You call your favorite realtor, your aunt, right? Your aunt. It's my favorite realtor. Show me all the pre-foreclosures in Broward County for sale. And Nish told me those are good deals. Right? Let's see how many pops up.
Out of 6,400, there are 411 available for sale.
Yep. And if without, again, this is not a REIFax class, but the green ones are active for sale. The ones that are pink and purple, they're already under contract. They just haven't closed yet.
Well, that's what that means.
Yep. So actually, it's probably closer to 200 and change that are for sale. So what about the other 6,000 people? Right? Some will go to foreclosure, right? They're going to think that somebody's going to save them. Right? Some will do a loan modification, right? They'll work out with the bank. Right? Some will just get flat out foreclosed. And then the other people that we're also going after is to do a short sale or sell to us. It doesn't have to be a short sale. So the idea of that is opportunity. That's just one Broward County, right? So are there deals out there? Absolutely.
Palm Beach County has 5,800 properties in pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
Of which for sale, and that's another reason why this is a fantastic program, REIFax, is because you can gain this information. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We can search almost anything and everything in this combination. Only 343 there for sale.
Yeah, so like less than 2%. So in other markets, right? We were talking about, we have a friend in the Colorado area, and he's like, there's no foreclosures around here. North Carolina, all these other spots, these big hedge funds, right? They're still buying. they're not knocking on doors or calling people or doing mailers. They're buying from people like Antonio, Harry, myself. We
They
are
don't
literally
see all these pre-foreclosures. They
yeah,
they
we're
don't see them.
feeding the beast.
All right, there's
Oh,
your over 10,000.
What county is this?
This is Miami-Dade
Miami-Dade.
County. Over 12,300 properties in the pre-foreclosure market.
Jeez.
So what is that total? Like 18, about
23,000.
22,000?
Yeah,
We're taking the
23,000.
Tri-County area.
Yep.
So far, only 700 for sale. Let's see what,
Okay, so who's excited? Give me a thumbs up or yeah, hell yeah in the chat if you're excited about being in real estate. On that portion, I mean. Yeah, Kenton, yep,
I'm surprised
Exactly.
about Miami-Dade's numbers.
yeah.
I mean, I'm like not surprised, but I'm surprised because they're nearly double what,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you Miami-Dade people, flashy, living beyond your means.
Miami-Dade's also twice as big, don't forget.
Yeah, I'm just picking on you. The 305. And then what we'll do is the next thing that we'll pull up also is since we're actually in the pre-foreclosure, right? Like that's an idea of what's happening right now in the county.
Okay, let's,
So Harry, can you pull up, just pick one county? What's happening in the last week?
all right, I was looking for what's available for sale in Washington. Oh, 712 available in Broward, in Miami-Dade County, just so that you know.
1,000. Yep.
Okay, let's see here. Get rid of this.
Yeah. So let's see how many people just got served last week.
Just to save myself.
Oh, and this is under, okay, so let's talk about what he actually pulled on this. This is how many people got served in the last week, less than $500,000 on a house.
Yep, less than 500,000 through
Can you
today.
actually, can you take out the 500,000? Just
Sure.
click on the right.
And I'm just gonna pick the 19th, so that this is basically 7 days only, 7 weekdays that we're looking at here, and get rid of the
Yeah,
500,000.
you could go to the right and you just, yeah. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
The
Yep. So, okay. So in the last 7 days, Broward County, how many people have been served?
132.
Okay. Want to click it to
Yep.
Dade County? We always pick on, everyone else gets mad at us. You guys only pick Broward County. Sorry, guys. So we always forget the 305 people.
445 in the last week alone.
Yep. So right now it's 132 plus 445, right? 570 and change. And what's our Palm Beach people look like?
106.
Oh, they're better. So like you're looking at almost 700 possible people that have problems.
Off-market properties.
Yep. Take a
And
look at
it's
some-
only going to get worse or better from an investor standpoint. It's going to get better for us,
Mhm.
but it's going to get worse because a lot more people need help.
Yep, exactly. So let's go to probates. Right, let's just see how many probates there are. And there's also different ways, just so you know, because of REIFax has so many different combinations, you could list stack. What that means is where you could look for more motivation, behind on taxes, behind on, out of state, ton of stuff. You want to go after multifamily. It's literally all in the software.
Now this, we're going to choose probate, not in pre-foreclosure. So this is with and without in financial trouble.
Go ahead and put in chat. How many of you guys think in Broward? How many?
I have a wow. I'll take that.
3,500. Brian's gonna be at 3,500. 6,115 people. And how many are for sale, Harry?
All these green ones, and those are for sale, but let's see if we can narrow it down and make ourselves a little easier for us.
And I might go on. I might even make you push it too, and I might add another filter. Also.
267.
Got it. All right, so go back, put not for sale. And can you do, let's do debt to equity, right? Can you do like 30% equity or more? Debt to equity, it's under market value.
But is that on this screen? Yeah,
Yep,
debt
right
to
there. Yeah,
equity
debt to equity greater than,
equal or greater than 30%.
yep. Not for sale, 30% equity or more.
Probate, Broward County only.
Yep. They're like, it's calculating equity. So like, again, as you like, once you get that big number, what we're doing is we're filtering it down, and your numbers will get smaller, but you're getting to better leads if you get a hold of them. So it's thinking.
If it takes this long, usually it's a long list. Watch
So it's-
5 will show up.
yeah, it's going through everything right there. So it's a lot of stuff.
5,000 out of the, what is it, 5,100?
6,100.
6,100, 5,000 have more than 30% equity.
And that feels, I'm like, ooh, I see Antonio's face like,
Yeah, Antonio, you know how to do this. You can get your own list. You don't have to take pictures of this one.
No, I pulled the list and I was able to narrow it down to like 290 something.
Yeah.
So I got
So
I got a pretty specialized list that I'm working on.
But the idea is like, really, the point is opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And, imagine, like, again, with our students pre-COVID, we're averaging about $25,000 per wholesale deal. Since COVID or during COVID, it was about 35,000. And I'm not going to say it's post-COVID. I don't know, whatever you want to call it now. Our last bunch of deals have been just crushing it. Like, I don't know how many $100,000 deals we've had on houses that are cheap. It's a crazy number on that portion. Why don't we, because I do have some like questions kind of going on too. So why don't we kind of hit some of these questions on that portion? So that way, and then we'll kind of, close it out a little bit too. So Eric, what's the best way to get into probates, right? So you want to build your list, and the software, just in case you guys do not have REIFax, we do get a discount. You could call our office, or you could use our BPM discount, and you'll save 10 to 20%. And that's what actually Harry just showed you, how to filter that list. And you could get, you could skip trace, you could call them or have someone on your team call them. You can knock on doors. The whole point is you need to get to the homeowner, and one of the things that, these guys have, knocked on doors in the past, they still kind of do that. But we all know how to build relationships. I know, Harry, I don't know how many probate deals you've closed from your probate attorney, right? That said, hey, Harry, I got this deal. I've closed a bunch also. So it's about building relationships too. So is the software in the BPM areas? No, it is, Derek. It's actually in, I always get this wrong, Florida, Georgia, Maryland, New Jersey. It's going to be in Texas, actually. I know you're in
Massachusetts, Texas, parts of Arizona.
And
he's working on North Carolina.
Yeah. And just so you know, Derek, in Texas, it's not the whole state. I want to say it's, of all things, it's where you live in Houston is what he's focusing on. The only problem with Texas, you guys like hiding everything. So the data is not the same because it scrubs it off public records. So we get everything and then some. So that's why we love, REIFax. I know there's a lot of other companies out there, but we crush it with them. And make sure you use our discount, call me or whatnot. You'll save 10 to 20% on it. And it does skip tracing. And you want to learn how to do this because I know some of you guys have different marketing budgets. And if you learn how these pieces work, you don't have to be an expert. That's how you start building your team out. So REIFax shows short sales. Yes and no, right? Like, meaning it goes by market value and whatever the recorded mortgage is, right? So maybe they did a mortgage 3 years ago. We don't know if they got a second mortgage. Maybe they paid it off, but it goes whatever on public records on that portion. But we do know if they've been served. And then the next end of it is we do go into the county records to see if their problem was fixed. meaning was it a loan modification or did they address the problem? So we've actually done webinars on that portion. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel. I know that Alexa's been putting it in there. One of the things is also check out our fun YouTube channel that I'm doing with one of our students, Sean. Totally outside of my comfort zone. He's hysterical. But they're short little videos of different things that are happening in our market. Kenton, what is the foreclosure timeline in Florida? How long from missed payment to the sale in the courthouse steps? I'll let you guys do. Either one of you guys want to answer that?
Well, I guess I will, since Antonio's calculating his 287 leads. Usually it's about 3 months before the banks will move forward and file a list pending to the start of the pre-foreclosure process in the courts. The bank is supposed to move forward within 1 year. The laws had changed back in 2013. Due to the collapse in 2007, and Florida was a state that was lagging and keeping the housing market down. So the laws had changed and required the banks to then, at that time, take a year. But there have been some that are a little longer, and some that are very fast. Right now, I'm seeing everything, every single every single pre-foreclosure that I see right now is classified streamlined. So they're moving as fast as they possibly can, but there are ways to slow them down and throw the proverbial log on the railroad tracks.
You know what we'll do is actually, I'm thinking about, because I feel like we're getting a lot of these questions again. Maybe our next webinar will be just about short sales or pre-foreclosure, because I'm starting to see people asking a lot of questions and what's happening on the market. The other thing that Harry did not mention, but also you have to make sure if there is an association involved, associations will close faster than the bank, generally speaking. Also, private lenders will move faster, right? Like if I lent Harry the money and he's not paying me, guess who's driving down to the courthouse and filing right away? So that's one of the things out there. REIFax, if you actually email us, they have 3 different programs. Out there, it is as cheap as $85 a month to $224 a month with our discount. So you got to use our code to get the discount. If you email our office, we could actually send you a form, or if you go to reifax.com and put, when you sign up, put in BPM in there and you'll get the special pricing on that portion. So again, we've featured Francisco at our quick starts, and we've done a ton of webinars with him. So if you have any questions, you could also email me and I'll help you through it also.
Also, don't be shy, Nish. Francisco is the owner and the designer of REIFax, but he's a geek and he loves doing this sort of stuff. And it was us, because we were asking him all these questions and he kept modifying his system, that created the interest in him becoming an investor. And in the past year and a half, 2 years, he's sold quite a few already himself because he sees what we're doing.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to kind of answer both these questions. People are asking, whether this market compares to Florida right now, South Florida versus Eric's asking South Florida versus the Midwest. So the easiest ways to remember, if you're looking for true cash flow, the Midwest will be better, generally speaking, unless, right? There's always unless you're like Antonio, who super sizes it or explodes it with short-term rentals. So that's an equalizer, is number one. The issue I have with the Midwest is appreciation is not that great, right? So I always pick on Ohio. 10 years ago, a house in Ohio was $30,000. I bet today it's about $36,000, right? Like appreciation's not great, generally speaking. The other issue is, guess what? A roof is still a roof. So the people I know that buy in there and they run into these big cap expenses, yeah, they made some good cash flow, but then they have to reinvest that back into a roof or other cap expenses, and they're not counting it, right? So their true return's not the same. Obviously, you could supersize it by having multifamily, and again, you could combine the short-term rental in there too. So I know it's a pretty broad question. What I'm going to tell you also is that I do not want to, and I always pick on the Midwest. I don't want to travel to the Midwest if I have a problem, right? Imagine it's December I'm Indian. I like the heat. Like the last thing I want to do is go to Ohio or Michigan in December because I got a problem, right? So some people love it, as I said, but I like being in our market. People, have been coming down here. And with us, it's a little bit different. You add in South America, what's happening down there to their economies. They're moving money down here. People obviously saw what happened in New York and New Jersey, the Northeast, moving their money down here, some of the tax benefits. And now we're starting to see crypto and hedge funds move down here too. So a lot of different moving parts. Let's see. The
I
best
like
way to
investing down here
contact.
because I get to invest back in the same communities I grew up in.
Yep.
That's why I like
exactly.
it down here. And I could drive to the property and look at it and touch it,
Yep, makes a big difference, right? And he knows
me,
the
it
area
does.
well, and it's easy to get referrals
Yeah.
to be honest. Michael, you're asking what's the best way to contact your leads and REIFAX. So they actually have a skip trace service if you have the full version. So skip tracing, you'll get the extra phone numbers, you can get family phone numbers, everything attached to the property. The other thing is we knock on doors too, right? If that's it's easier to say no on the phone, right? Or not call on a mailer on that portion versus a door. And they might just like Antonio more than me, right? So I can knock on a door or call them and they say, you know what? I really like Antonio. And they're saying, not so much. And Harry, I can't stand, right? So it just really depends on out there. But the key to this game, you have to talk to sellers, right? Eric's special negotiation techniques that work for us, we have a ton. So it just really depends, whether it's in pre-foreclosure or not, right? So regular deals, we do them all the time. So the key to this is listening to them. And actually, Eric, also, if you had a chance, check out our YouTube channel. I actually did the top 10 negotiating techniques with Taryn. She's a master negotiator. I'm Indian, so I know how to negotiate, except when it's with my wife. She's way better a negotiator than I'll ever be because I always lose. So those are just some of the things out there that, what we've seen and done out there. And what I kind of want to show you some of the student deals that we've done also. You can see my screen, correct? Yep.
Yes, we got it full screen. Yep, you got it.
So Harry, you want to talk about one of these deals, 50/40 on that portion?
This was one of these student deals. Believe it or not, this is cleaned up.
Yep.
From this angle, there was so much overgrowth, like a jungle, that you could not see the house. And we're 15 feet away. This is the backyard. The front yard was worse, but 1 acre lot completely overgrown. The house was a hoarder's house. And our crews that cleaned it out said it was the worst house they've ever seen. We opened the front door and there was 3 feet for us to climb into the house. And that stuff that he accumulated went up to 6 feet. He had not had access to the 3 bedrooms, the 2 bathrooms, or the kitchen for over a few years at least.
Yep.
Do not ask the other questions that just came up.
Yeah. It's and so obviously it's a disease. And one of the things that we're able to do is I don't want to say it's that empty. Investors passed on us for over 5 years, right? Somewhere around that nature. And they actually got, I think he walked away. The family walked away with a little over 200,000.
Yeah, they wanted 300,000. We thought the bank was going to take 72. It turns out they took 27. They had a forbearance plan somewhere hidden in there. So they ended up walking away with 260 some odd $70,000, which was very helpful to them.
Yep. And we negotiated the $40,000 in liens. Would you negotiate them down to?
380,000 in liens. There were 1,600 in hard costs, maintenance and other things the city had. But the $380,000 in accruals, we got down to $3. Yes, $3.
And the hard cost, right, of $1,700.
Well, yeah, so less the $1,680 to pay off the city and make them happy. And you know what? We didn't pay it. Our buyer paid it.
Yeah. And that's Taryn negotiating with our buyer to squeeze the extra $1,600 just for fun. but our deal profit was $138,000. The student had no money in it, right? So he wasn't worried about a real estate correction. He wasn't worried about inflation because it was my money, right? So that wasn't an issue either. And we solved the problem. And guess what? The neighbors are ecstatic. And this was a house that Julio drove past like all the time, right?
Yep.
Like literally past it, and you could barely see the house from the street. So,
Julio's annual salary was only $6,000 more.
yeah. Yeah.
than
So
here.
yeah, and Julio has a full-time job, right? So this is actually in Antonio's hood that he loves. And Antonio, I can't believe you missed out on this one. No. So this was a probate deal, 7 heirs or 8 heirs. I don't know if it's 8 heirs or 7. 7 of them agreed. 1, of course, didn't. And we had a battle through. And same thing, hoarder. There was a little even motorbike in the place. The house was pretty disgusting. We wholesaled it. We made $70,000 on this house, and it's a little 2-1 in the neighborhood. So, and they walked away with a little bit of money too. So they were pretty excited about that. Harry, I know this is one of your deals that you're working on.
Yeah. The heirs were going to walk away with this and let the banks take it because the bank wanted more than it was worth. So they weren't interested. I asked them to let me do the magic that I do, and we were able to negotiate the bank down to they would take $171,000 for this, and we ended up making $179,000 profit. We bought it for $171,000. Yeah, I know that's pretty insane, but
you more
still
than
pretty
doubled your
shocked
money.
ourselves.
Yeah, and again, with a $1,000 deposit, borrowed all the money on that portion. So without a doubt, and this would actually set the record for us. So all those people that said, "Oh, I need to make 20,000 or more," you heard Harry talk about it. He's like, "Yeah, I only did so many deals," but look at his numbers. And I always joke about it. Victoria always still cracks me up. And this shit's so hard to get out of bed if we don't make over $50,000.
He's joking, people. She's not that vain.
No, she's not that. No, she's very sarcastic, but it made me laugh.
Because if she hears you say that, she will kill you.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, I do fear your wife also. But no, but we always joke about it, right? At the end of the day, these deals are problem deals. And most investors passed on it. And that's one of the things that are out there that you're looking where other places don't. You've heard, Antonio talk about deals. And I kind of joke about it. Harry, Taryn's the same. Actually, all the mentors, even Antonio a little bit. Like, you guys like difficult deals. I joke about it. I like easy deals on that stuff. And the reason, like, one of my biggest deals, I made about $120,000 on it, and I sold it to Open Door, and I'll kind of talk about that iBuyers real quick too. Is it was a realtor relocating to Georgia, and she needed extra time to live in it. So I closed on it, paid cash, and even though she was a realtor, she didn't want to list the property because she didn't want her neighbors to know. And who else was going to let her live in there? And I just wound up listing it. We closed in 2 or 3 weeks. On that portion, let her stay did a post occupancy for a month on it. And then one of the things I did was I sold to Open Door. So Open Door, if you guys don't know, is an iBuyer, just kind of like Zillow was an iBuyer. One of the things that what you've seen is everyone thinks our space is easy, right? So Zillow comes in, hopefully there's no one from Zillow on this call here. You guys think you got the algorithm down on buying houses. Nice try, guys. You did it. You took your I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars of loss. And guess what happens, right? You're out of business on that portion of buying homes. Open Door, if you just saw recently, last quarter, they took a 42% loss. And I saw today, actually, they are selling houses for a loss right now. Right?
Maybe we should buy them back.
Yeah. And so here's the good part, right? That may be a discount if you're using the right leverage or cash flow or other people's money. That's an opportunity. So these iBuyers that you guys were worried about, they're moving out, right? All those people that are new that don't have access to capital, short sales, right? You can't do that, or foreclosures. You can't do those deals if you don't have cash. Right? You're out. Like you're going to miss out on those 6,000. What was it? What was it between the three counties? 23,000 or so?
22,000.
Yeah, somewhere around there. You can't do any of those deals at all. And so one of the things that we talk about, right? Like this is our other motto: great real estate investors are trained, not born. So I have my own mentors. I have two of my own mentors. I'm in a mastermind. You know, Antonio's constantly going to these conferences with me. Harry's constantly learning. I'm learning from Harry. Right? We're talking about, you know, through our partners, like whether it's Carl Fisher, talking about using our self-directed IRAs, talking about using life insurance, right? I mean, Antonio is teaching me some of the stuff on the short-term weather data that he's using from marketing to set up all this stuff. We are constantly building our business, right? So that's one of the things that, you know, people always talk about is that, hey, you know, how do you get there, right? All you guys are starting to see is the finished product, right? And so we have a coaching program. And one of the things is that, you know, our coaching program is about building your wealth, right? And for some of you, right, he doesn't want to own properties. He wants in and out. I know, without getting too much in his business, right? He's got no debt at all. He goes on fabulous vacations. He buys stuff in, you know, his retirement, and he likes that. Antonio, right? You're in the in between. Like where do you want to be in your real estate world? You just got to meet it. Oh, we can't hear you.
Thanks. What I'm honestly working on now is really scalability in the business.
Yeah.
You know, I've been working with several folks. We've been able to really make strides as far as how effective our scripts are. So the way I'm looking at it now is more of an actual business and the different departments of that business, rather than just going out and trying to get deals. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm trying to make that as efficient as possible, because if I go out, right, and I do what I do, I make the calls or I knock on the doors, I can only really get so far before either A, I get tired, or before B, you know, I just can't anymore. There's only so many houses that I can cover. So that's a valuable lesson I've been learning recently, not just in terms of scalability, but also in what contribution is to others, right? So there's other people out there like me that they resonate with my story, especially around family, that, you know, they that's what they want as well, right? And so if I can help somebody help their entire family out, I mean, that's also a big something that I'm aiming and striving for right now in my business.
Yeah. And so one of the things, and even for me, right, I'm in between also. Like I like certain things. I like our market down here. I'm about, you know, paying the least amount of taxes, right? I'm using other strategies of pushing inflation on other people by using leverage, whether it's the bank's money, private money, whatnot. I'm all for a correction because I think there's opportunity. So when people always ask me, how's the real estate market? I'm like, it's really good. It's because I'm doing deals. I'm not going to let, you know, one of the biggest things that happens is, what I didn't tell you was my family was not very happy. I was, you know, getting into real estate investing after I lost everything. Their exact words were, hey, you tried it your way. Now it's back to it's back to corporate American-ish. And I told you, as a good Indian son, I didn't listen to him, right? I'm stubborn. I slept on my cousin's couch. I'm not saying, please don't I don't want any emails like, hey, so you didn't listen to your parents, and parents, do not email me, please. No, but that's the point, right? It's the why. And we know it's not going to, you know, it's going to be risky, right? And it's not going to be risky if I'm putting up all the money for the deals. I take away that risk, or your mentor. All our mentors have their own deals going on, so they're active investors. All the mentors that have done a national program, right? Between us, I think we spent $150,000 on programs, and we had a combined 0 deals. Can you imagine that? Right? And now the 4 of us, you know, have crushed it, you know, doing it this way. You know, we get it, you know, and sometimes you'll find out the people closest to you are the ones that are going to say, hey, don't do this. Right? So like, that's some of the things that you have to look at. And what you don't want is, right, is in like, older people that are on this call, oh, I wish I would have bought in 2010, 2011, right? Or I should have got in there. You cannot let life pass you by. You got one life is my attitude. Do you want an ordinary one? Or, you want to create something spectacular? And for me, like my impact, to make a difference on so many people, or generations is exciting as me making money, right? Like I want to make it a win-win constantly. So that's how we created this program. We don't take everyone in there. It's just a very unique spot of what we do. I'm not high pressure. You can see all the information that we're giving. I'm very transparent, right? If you want to look at my bankruptcy, February 10, 2010, you'll see that bankruptcy on there. It's public records, right? And that's the idea. I didn't make any bad decisions in general. I just didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was an investor. I wasn't looking at the numbers, and I was kind of caught up in the moment, right? So you can learn from my lessons is one of the things that I tell people. Some of our success stories, right? Alex and Karen, their first deal, they got some height on that too. So it was a deal in West Palm, almost a $50,000 profit. Mario's deal that we showed you was the $70,000 profit. Marcia's got a deal here that it only made, I think, about 15 or 20,000. So poor Marcia, she only made about 10. And Michelle made well over $30,000 on her deal. So those are some of the things that, our students are doing, right? And whatever as our mentors, right? On your one-on-one, we're going to figure out what you want to do. Some of you guys might want to really build a portfolio. Some of you guys might just want to wholesale, or sometimes you might rehab like Harry did and says, I'm never going to rehab ever again. Denise and Lucian actually love rehabbing. Taryn loves creative financing, and she actually does virtual wholesaling in different markets. You met Antonio as a guest today. He loves short-term rentals. And also Antonio's passionate about traveling and actually scaling his business, which is important, right? He doesn't want to be a one-man band. So he has other goals, and he's working on his tools too, right? So the next step, right? People always ask me like, hey, is the coaching program for me on that portion? And so book a discovery call, right? You could call our office, or you could go to www.bpmria and book a discovery call, and you will be tied into probably me and grill me, right? Ask me all the questions you want. Is this right for me, right? On that portion. The other thing that you're going to want to do also is, you're going to pick a path, and we're going to get you a mentor. And the idea is that we're not high pressure, right? So we have two different programs. One of the things is I actually offer financing for our programs too. So if your number one excuse is I don't have money for the deals, you can't use it. Oh, I don't know how to evaluate properties. One of your mentors will go out there, or I'll send an inspector. You can't use that either. Now what, right? So the actual part of doing this business is not that hard, right? Like it's not easy, but it's not hard. And what I mean by that is that when it's not hard is that you got to go out there and talk to sellers, right? It's not a get rich quick thing, not at all. One of the other points is we're also a part of National RIA, a chapter of National RIA. So guess what? They do background checks, criminal checks on me, right? To make sure I'm doing that portion. The Miami Dolphins or PAC, right? They wouldn't have, or Next Chapter University for their athletes. They wouldn't have me on board if they didn't trust me, right? They asked me a gazillion questions on that portion. What we really want you to do is be part of our movement, right? We are a community building something big, and we're literally changing neighborhoods. So I know we talked about the money end of it. Actually, Harry or Antonio, do you want to talk about maybe, and we'll kind of end it with this, is what, like some of the homeowners you helped out, right, out of foreclosure? Like what
Yeah,
did
I'd
that
say
sound
that
like?
one of the favorites that I have as far as helping them out was a couple who unfortunately very older couple, grandparents, and the grandpa was nearing the end of his retirement, and he was getting a pension plan. He was retiring with a pension, so they were concerned that any loose ends on the house would affect them. And so I actually saw I saw grandpa working, and I was like, man, this guy really works hard. And so, to be able to help him avoid any kind of any kind of troubles or any issues, any judgments when it comes to him being in retirement and providing for him and his wife, I just felt really happy about it. And they were ecstatic. I mean, they were so ecstatic. They did a video with me. Their testimonial video. They were like, absolutely, we want everybody to know about you guys. So that's probably one of the more fruitful of the short sales that I've done. And it was a phenomenal deal. We grossed like 99 on that one. So God bless,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, and I know someone just asked, like, so you could do, like, within our program, we focus on wholesaling, rehabbing, but we know how to do creative deals subject to seller financing, lease options. We're truly a one-on-one mentoring. So I don't teach you everything because you're going to go too wide. I call it Cheesecake Factory syndrome, right? Like you look at that menu, there's like, I don't know, like 400 items. And I do the same thing where I, I look at everything and I get the orange chicken and the jambalaya. I go through the whole same process for no reason. It's the same thing, a couple of things I get. So we're going after the low hanging fruit, but you're going to like that. Our mentors like making money, just like me. And since we go 50-50 on the profits, you will learn how to do the deal in real time. I'm not going to say no to making money on that portion. So our goal, and one of the things and I'll let Harry also talk about it too, is people always ask me, how are you guys different than other programs out there? And one of the things that we're very different from anybody else out there is that, our goals are aligned. And when I say the goals are aligned is that if you succeed, I succeed. Right. So we're not just giving you education and good luck. And hey, if everything works out for Antonio, that's awesome. If it doesn't, that's awesome. I already made my money. I make money, right? Our plan is really pretty easy. Take less students and get them to perform. So we only take limited students per month also. There's only 4 mentors. We do not have the bandwidth to take hundreds. That's number 1. Number 2 is we give you unlimited access to your mentors. So what I mean by that is unlimited phone calls or emails. Your mentors might say, hey, Antonio, stop calling me 20 times in a row. Let's just have one call and let's make this more efficient. But in general, what you're going to find out as you're working on deals, you're going to talk to your mentor more too. So Harry, what about, you want to end it with one of your moments on helping out a homeowner?
When Victoria, when I'm going to say us as Victoria and myself, but when we, our very first deal, the lady was signing the paperwork and she started to cry, the short sale paperwork, and she started to cry. And she says, I come to the realization I'm losing my home. But what I can't seem to, to accept is that I feel like such a failure. And that's when Victoria started crying. I started tearing up, and we realized right at that moment that we're not real estate investors. We're more real estate therapists. And by helping others, aside from the great feeling and you sleep well at night, you're making a big difference in these people's lives. And we've met some of the nicest people in circumstances where we would have never met them before. We helped we had another family which their daughter had trouble with drugs, so they took the daughter's children in, and they were raising the 3 kids, but they were in trouble with the foreclosure process, and they could only move into a 2-bedroom, afford a 2-bedroom, and they had to decide which one of the 3 grandchildren to give up to foster care.
Oh.
I mean, that is just horrible. Another lady, elderly woman in her 80s, sweetheart, everything like this. No family members. We ended up taking her. She wasn't eating. Car broke down, and she was walking 8 blocks in Florida heat just to get a loaf of bread and a box of eggs. And so we brought her food and stuff, and I took her to 4 different independent living facilities because she didn't have enough income, but she was being scammed by lottery people and over the phone, and she was bouncing 10 to 15 checks at $35 a pop each month in the bank. So she had enough to get into this independent living facility, which I wanted to live in. It was really nice. And we worked through her fears and everything, because she was alone for 80 years, independent. I mean, not alone, but independent, and thought she was going to be losing all that. She's running the place now and has boyfriends, and she's just having a blast. But at first it was coming down to just get her something to eat. And there are a few others like that, but making a difference in people's lives is the greatest satisfaction that Victoria and I have found from this business.
Yeah, and then there's other people like even like me, right, that lost everything, and you're helping. And again, we're using the pre-foreclosure people because we helped out so many homeowners, and now they were able to buy a house. It's after 2010. They got good jobs. We got them in the waiver deficiency, and it's just a blur. And some of you guys, right, might be in the same situation as I have, right? You might have lost a bunch of stuff. It doesn't matter what you lost, right? That's the past. Don't let it scar you, right? Like you would think I'd be out of real estate after losing 28 properties on that end of it. Instead I came back and I use it as a crutch. And now I'm making sure on cash flow. I'm not caught up in the rah-rah stuff, right? In the moment, like what you saw, the explosion of people buying, last year. Like I'm very even keel, and the numbers are the numbers, and I have multiple exit strategies. And that's what we're here to really teach you as a group. And you'll see, I always joke about it, is our first job is to make money, right? The second job is to keep it legally, so the least amount of taxes, right? So we use advanced strategies, and it's kind of like, it's pretty fun. And the other funny part is with the other mentors and students, like we have a good time. We vacation, we definitely eat and drink is an understatement. And, it's just fun when you see a lot of people making money. And what we've seen also is some of our past students, they're working for big funds, and they take a little bit of what I taught them and they're crushing it. Right. So the question is, why not you? How long have you been thinking about it? It's almost the end of the year. Are you going to pass on another one too? And so for my final thoughts before Alexa announces the winner of the membership, remember, you have until, I don't know, I'll give you until 5 o'clock today. I gave you $100 off on the quick start if you're a non-member. So you'll save $100 on that portion. So make sure you reach out to Alexa, or we'll make sure we'll take care of that. So Alexa, who's our winner?
Absolutely. Our winner today is Mel. Congratulations, Mel. You won the 1-year membership. Sorry, I just pressed enter there into the chat. Congratulations, you won the 1-year membership, and I will be in touch with you. And as Anish just mentioned, we are being super generous today and giving off $100 off of the price for the quick start training. And you will all get an email from me. It'll be coming from alexa@bpmreia.com. You will all get this email. So if you don't see it, please double check your spam and junk folder. I will be giving you guys that coupon code to get $100 off the quick start for the next, you said until 5 p.m. today?
5 p.m. Today's about
Okay.
action, right? So,
Yeah.
the weather's bad. You might as well, you came on board today. So I just want to make sure that I want to, give you something for listening to us. Make sure you give us, a 5-star Google review, any kind of testimonials. We love it. And also you can email myself or Alexa if there's some topics that you want to touch. I think the pre-foreclosure short sale might be a webinar, and maybe I'll convince Antonio to hop back on, and maybe I'll have some of the other mentors on there too. And I want to thank Mr. Harry Diamond, Mr. Antonio Lopez, for hanging out, spending the afternoon, giving a lot of knowledge and being very generous to our members and our attendees and to myself. And we look forward to our next event. Alexa, when's our next event?
We have our monthly meeting this Wednesday coming up. So in the evening, no excuses. Hopefully you guys can be there because it's going to be really, really good.
Yep.
I met Walter in person at the National Rio Leadership Conference. He's really, really good, and he really gets people, you know, activated in the workshop. There's going to be a lot of, it's going to be very interactive for a webinar.
Awesome.
I'll leave you with that.
So we will see you guys soon. Again, thank you guys for listening in. Replays on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you Wednesday. So thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. Be safe out there.